Hi, welcome to today's episode of Noma's Designers Diaries. I'm recording from Johannesburg, South Africa, and I've got a short one today because since I last recorded, I think I haven't done quite a lot, but I'll talk about that in the next few minutes. So I'll follow the same format of what I normally show you, and before I show you some of the items that I'm working on, I'll talk to you about my process behind this, the summer and spring collection that I'm working on, because it's a little different from what I've done in the other years. So I figured maybe, just maybe, it will be nice to share my thought process behind it, because some of the items that I'll be doing are going to be a bit of a surprise for a summer design collection, but I think and I hope it's going to make sense. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing the Phakama Cardigan. So the name Phakama is a Zulu name, and it means rise. And it's not just to rise like stand up. Yeah, it does mean to rise and stand up, technically. But when it's being used as a name for someone and they're called Phakama, it usually means something more than just standing up, but it's meaning that you should rise above the situation, rise above the occasion. It's way deeper than just rising or standing up. So I named this cardigan Phakama because it was my first intarsia project. I had not done it before because I thought it was going to be very difficult, and I'm sure it is when you're doing some color work and some shapes and designs, but I decided to do a very simple one at the beginning. So I named it Phakama because I was just rising above my fears for intarsia, and it turned out to be quite great. And I noticed when I was working on this that because I was working with two colors, I don't know what happens with the brain when you're actually working with two colors or striping and not just doing one solid block. It kind of feels like it moves much faster and it's not as exhausting as it would if it was just a single color. So I did this in two colors, and the yarn is African Expressions Harmony. It's an Aran weight yarn, and I worked on 4.5mm needles throughout, except for the button band. I think I used 3.25 or 3.5, but all the details are on the pattern. So it started at the back and it's worked from the top down, and I'll put some photos up so you can see what I'm talking about. So I used two colors. There's the black on the side and beige on the side, so it's opposite at the front, beige and black. So I did opposite panels to give it some interest, and the sleeves also are the opposite of the front, but they look exactly like the back. So when you're looking at it from the back, the sleeves match the back. I don't know if you can see this. And then on the other side, it's black. So it was a very fun project to work on. And I noticed even with the sleeves, because I did one in black and I worked on the other one in beige, it didn't feel like I did two sleeves for the same project. It was like two different projects with one sleeve each. So that kind of works very well as well. So I also did a tubular bind off here and a long cuff. I like long cuffs. They make the knits look more modern and stylish. And I did the same with the hem as well. So it's a bit thicker. It's about 4 inches, I think. So it's a very beautiful one. I love wearing this. We're currently in the autumn here in the southern hemisphere, and this works just fine for this season. I'm just wearing a long sleeved top underneath, and fortunately this yarn is not itchy and it doesn't peel that much, so it's a great one overall. I think that's all I can say about this. So I'll include some links on this pattern in the description box below. And then the first item that I want to talk about is something that I launched a week ago. I think it was last week on Thursday or Wednesday. So it's the Gugulethu Shirt. So this has been the most challenging project I've ever worked on and written. I mean, I've had some challenging projects that actually really take a lot of brain power to design and to knit and to grade and everything, but this one was also very challenging, and weirdly enough it's all stockinette stitch and there isn't any ripping at all on this shirt. So this was inspired by the cashmere shirts that I've seen in those high-end or designer shops. I don't know if you've seen them as well, but they are super expensive. Sometimes they go over $1,000 even. So I wanted to design something that had the same look and feel that looks exactly like your typical button-down shirt, but it's knitted with wool. So I've seen some cashmere ones, and initially I wanted to knit it with 100% cashmere, and then when I started shopping around, I noticed that because I was looking at Myak baby, it was cashmere, I think. I don't remember the exact name, but it's the 100% cashmere lace weight yarn. And then it had just been discontinued, which was great. I'm so glad I didn't look for it earlier. And then I ended up going for the baby yak lace, because they still have the baby yak lace, and it's 100% baby yak. It's super soft, and it's such a nice cloudy fluffy yarn. Unfortunately, I don't think you can easily see that here, but I'll include the photos that I took for this garment. It's worked from the top down, starting from the back. So I did everything that you would find in a button-down shirt. So there are these double knitted ridges, as you can see right here at the back. And it started from the top down with some short rows for shoulder shaping, and worked up to the armholes. And then when I picked up for the left and the right front, I also did this double knitted ridges to create that same thing that you find on button down shirts. So you'll notice something on my photos. Let me put that disclaimer first, that the collar kind of stands up at the back. When I had finished this project, I ran out of yarn, and it's a long story that I'm going to tell just now when I'm done showing you the features of this shirt. So I ran out of yarn, and my collar ended up being like an inch shorter than it should have been, an inch and a half. So I had to finish it up later on with a different yarn. But when I did the photo shoot, I hadn't received the yarn that I ended up using, so it was kind of short, and that's why it was standing up at the back. But on the pattern, it's written to be the right length, and you're gonna have no problems with it. So as I was saying, it starts here, and there's this inverted pleat at the back, and on the inside it looks like a box split. And the double ridges that I've spoken about. And then once you've joined in the underarm, so this is a lot of details that you work on right at the beginning of the project. But once you're done with this section and you're knitting the body, you're just knitting all the way down. There's nothing else that's happening, just knitting until you get to the hem, and then you do the purl row, like your typical hem. You do the purl row, and then you knit a few rows and fold over and use whip stitch to create the hem, like this. So I also did a pocket, a patch pocket. So if you're knitting this project, the best thing to do when you're trying to when you're doing your gauge swatch, you just do the pocket, and because it's the same gauge as the shirt itself. So the button bands are double knitted, and then the collar is also double knitted. So I just picked up the stitches, worked a row to double them up, and then did some double knitting. So I ran out of yarn somewhere here, and then I had to use a different yarn because shipping yarn to South Africa is crazy currently. So I ended up using some Pearl Soho yarn. This is 100% cashmere. So the color is almost similar. I think the color on the body is quite similar, but the one I used on the collar is not. But it was the best substitute that I could get. So a bit of some background information if you haven't seen the previous episodes. I ordered this yarn in the United States from a yarn shop called Fabulous Yarns. I think they're the shop that had the color that I wanted, and this color is Oatmeal. Initially I ordered 6 skeins of yarn, and it was going to be enough because I was thinking of knitting with a single strand of yarn, which is kind of weird now that I think about it, because it would have been too light. So I knit this until I had joined in the underarm and done a few inches, and I realized that it was very light. The top was going to be super light, and it was going to be difficult for me to wear it on different seasons, and I wanted something I could wear more often, not just on perfect weather days when there is some cool breeze and it's cool enough to put it on but not too hot. So I ended up frocking that entire project. That was last year, because I intended to launch this last year, and I had to start afresh and hold the yarn double. So because I only had 6 skeins, I realized that I didn't have enough, and I had to order 2 more skeins. So I don't remember how much I shipped the 6 skeins that I initially bought, because that was 2023 when I bought this yarn. But when I ordered the 2 skeins to finish it off last year, they were each $27, so that was $54, but the shipping was over $60 just for the 2 skeins, because I used DHL. Currently our post office is a bit of a mess, and we don't ship anything via the post office if you actually want to receive it. So I ended up spending more than $100 just to buy the 2 skeins and ship. I think it ended up costing almost $120 with the insurance costs and the packaging and everything. So I had to also spend on taxes when the shipment got here. And then there's another cost that we have here in South Africa that is called a vet inspection or something, but it's some health inspection, but it's around 400 rands or something, which was at the time maybe close to 20 something to $30, just for them to inspect the 2 skeins of yarn over and above the custom duty. So ultimately, just to get the extra 2 skeins, I ended up paying close to $200 for the whole thing, the yarn plus all the costs. So I wasn't prepared to order another skein and go through that again. I was just trying to figure out that if there's someone who's traveling, maybe I can ask them to bring it for me, or if I get to travel in the future, I can do that for myself. But I wasn't about to order another skein and spend $100 just for a single skein. So when I received the skein, I realized that it looks the same, feels the same, and it can actually work. So I ended up adding it to my collar, because I want to wear this now in the autumn. So that's the long story about receiving yarn over here. It is so expensive. It's crazy expensive. Every time I want to order yarn, I have to think about paying 3 times the price of the yarn. That's what I have to budget just to be on the safe side. So if yarn costs $100 to buy it from a shop somewhere, then I have to spend $300 on that yarn to actually get it in my hands. So that's why literally I think 90% or 80% of my patterns are made with local yarn. I only use yarn from outside of South Africa if it's something that is unique and you can't find it here. And I mentioned it on the previous episode that it's very hard to get a lot of summer yarns. We don't have 100% linen, or at least I've never seen it, and 100% silk, 100% cashmere. So if you want to design something or need something for the summer, it's quite tricky with local yarn. So that's when I have to actually order outside of the country. And the other thing that I wanted to show you on this project, I am so proud of the sleeves. I don't know if you've noticed that most button-down tops have got this setup as well. I love this. So when I got to this point, I had to start working back and forth. This side, it's an I-cord edge where the buttons are, and I had to do some double knitting for this side with the buttonholes, and then you close it, and then the cuff, let me show it when it's closed. So when it's closed, it looks like this, and then the cuff is double knitted. This was also my favorite. But what I did here, when I moved from the sleeve to the cuff, I bound off all the stitches like I was done with the shirt, and then I picked up on the back loop so that there will be this demarcation line. I love this technique, so that there will be this demarcation line between the sleeve and the cuff. So it looks like this. As I mentioned, there are a lot of little details on this. It took quite a while to write the pattern and make sure that all the details were there. And the buttons are just 1 centimeter. Initially, I had bought some bigger ones, but they looked like they were taking over the shirt. And then I had to get a smaller size, and I'm very happy with it. So it's these shell buttons. I wanted something simple, but that could also have a bit of some character to it and stand out and be unique. So it's the Gugulethu Shirt. It's available on Ravelry and on Etsy. And it's been my most challenging project. But one thing I love about these super challenging projects is that once you learn those new skills, once you develop them, it's easy to apply them on different projects. And I look forward to using all the techniques that I've learned here on my future projects as well. So I've got 2 shirts that I'll be doing. One is in cotton and the other one is in silk. So I'll use some of the techniques that I've done here. Okay, the next item that I want to talk about is a finished product, but first let me talk about my summer collection as a whole. So this year I'm not doing the stuff that I typically do when I'm designing summer items. In the past couple of years, I've always thought of summer designing as working on some sleeveless tops, which is great. But I noticed that even though it does get very hot and I use my sleeveless shirts, but mostly I gravitate towards tops with sleeves. Not long sleeves per se, but short sleeves, 3/4 sleeves, or even long sleeves. Because I think there are very few places, maybe deserts, where it gets so hot that you won't consider wearing certain things. But in most places around the world, including here in South Africa, we've got a great climate, but summer can get cold sometimes and very cool and chilled, and the air conditioning in some buildings can get quite cold. So you don't necessarily wear camisoles and sleeveless tops the entire summer. I realized that I've got quite a number, and this year I think I'm only doing 2 sleeveless tops, and they are like the dressy types that you can actually wear when you're really in a like dressed up mood or in a dressed up space. So I mainly am going to focus on short sleeves, 3/4 sleeves, but more than anything I'm focusing on the little details and stuff that actually makes the pieces look dressier and prettier, not just something that you just throw on when you're just putting on your pair of jeans. It's like when you're dressing up, going out for lunch, going out for dinner, going to work. So that's the focus that I have this year. Most of the tops I'm doing are either short sleeve or 3/4 sleeve, and there are 2 long sleeved button down shirts that I'm also doing, but those ones will be coming out in the late summer, early fall, because they'll probably work on both seasons. So that's the best part about this collection. I'm so excited about it, and I spent the whole of last year, summer and winter, really working on what I need in my wardrobe. What do I wear every day? I was taking notes, keeping tabs on what I was doing and what I was liking, so that when I design going forward, I focus more on items that I actually need to wear and how the climate is and what I generally tend to reach for in the summer and in the spring. So I'm happy with the collection that I have right now, because it really fits so well with my wardrobe, and it's going to, I think, add more value in my wardrobe than I've ever done before with my knitting. So let me show you what I finished. I only finished 1 item. I think the last time I was here I was talking about finishing a couple of things, but well, life happened. I didn't finish all those things that I wanted to finish, but this top is done and it's creased because it's been folded. The vest is done. This is the Emily vest. I don't know if you can see it properly, but I love the details on this one. It's a simple stockinette one with some ribbing, and it started here at the back with this beautiful detail. So you start with just the stitches for the back neck and these ribbed stitches here, and so I was adding stitches right on this line, and then you work down. So with this design, the ribbing is incorporated right from the start. So when you're done, you are just left with the neckband, but I normally work the neckband earlier on anyway. So by the time I finished and bound off here at the bottom, I was totally done with the top. So the sleeves, so this ribbing for the sleeves starts here and goes all the way down and around and all the way here, and then the front, of course, the stitches are picked up at this point and you work down, and do the neck shaping and join in the round. There's some armhole shaping, because this is like, this would have been a satin sleeve if I was going to add sleeves, but of course it's a longer sleeve. It's very deep because it's a vest and I want to wear some stuff underneath. As you work down, there are some slight increases here, a few of them, so it's not exactly straight down. It's a bit of an A-line shape. It doesn't show very well because I only added maybe 8 stitches or so, so it's shaped this way. And then when you get to the hem, it's a very thick one. Let me fold this over backwards like this. It's a very thick one, and at the bottom is curved a little bit with some short rows, because I just wanted to soften the edges. They looked a bit sharp and I had to soften them up a little bit. So this is the Emily vest, because the yarn color is Emily, and I was using Nurturing Fibres Eco Cotton yarn. It's my favorite summer yarn, and I've done more than 20 designs with this yarn, so I love it that much. And it doesn't peel, and it's so cool to the touch. When you're touching it, it actually feels very cool, and it's great for the spring and the summer. So I can't wait to wear this vest. When I saw this yarn, I thought it would be so nice to wear this with a crisp white shirt underneath, or an off-white one, and whether it's some jeans or some pants, either way it's gonna look great. You can even wear this over a dress. I think it will look very beautiful with a dress. This pattern is coming out later this month, towards the end of the month, maybe around the 20th, 22nd, somewhere there. The next item is also Nurturing Fibres Eco Cotton. Is this top here, or rather it's a pullover. It's a summer pullover. As I mentioned earlier, in the summer we get rain here, so we don't normally get rain in winter. Our climate is cold and dry in the winter and autumn, and then it's hot and wet in the summer and spring. So that's when we get rain, but mainly we get rain in November, December, and well, January is very dry and very hot, and then February, the last month of summer, we get a lot of rain, and sometimes it spills into the early autumn. But one thing I noticed is that when it gets rainy, it also gets a bit chilly, but not so cold that you have to wear something really thick. But it really works when you've got something like this, a cotton long-sleeved pullover that can just keep you a bit warm, but you don't really need a thick item to wear. So I did the stripes in some fun colors that can work in the summer and in the spring. So the colors that I used, starting from the top, is vanilla, the main color, and then I used fawn, and then I used anvil, then there's charcoal, and the golden color is Sahara. So I love the combination of these colors and the striping. It's literally my favorite striped top at the moment. I can't wait to wear this. I had hoped that I'll finish it earlier and wear it before it gets too cold, but I think now it's too cold for this top. So the sleeves are straight and have got this tight cuff that's quite long. So it's a very relaxed fit and a relaxed top, and it's going to launch early next month. What else? Oh yeah, I've still got some more stripes. The next one is this top that still doesn't have a name, and it's knit with Pearl Soho, and as I've mentioned before, all my Pearl Soho yarn is sponsored. I do not pay for it. So this is knit with the yarn Cotton Pure, and the colors are brown date and heirloom white. So it's an off-white and a beautiful brown. So I don't think it's easy for me to show this, but this brown has got some olive green undertones to it. It's such a beautiful shade of brown, and I've got a cone, so I'm trying to squeeze out at least 2 more tops out of it. I'm hoping it works out. So this off-white is the one I'm going to use for the other shirt that I'm planning to design later on. So it's like this. The neckline is stockinette, and the sleeves, okay, I did one sleeve with double knitting and the other one I just knitted and folded, so I'm still deciding which one I'll keep, but I'll have to redo the other one. So this is how the sleeve works. Basically it's knitted straight out, and then I folded and seamed here on the underarm so that it stays in position. So the sleeves are going to be folded like this, and then the back is also the European shoulder construction, because I didn't want the short rows to mess around with the striping, and I wanted the stripes to start right at the top. So I did it like this, and the sleeves are incorporated into the construction without necessarily doing some separate sleeves. So you'll notice that this is a very long line because I had to cast on some extras. I had to include stitches for the sleeves, and then they are seamed here at the bottom. I had to bind them off when I was joining in the round and do a seam at the bottom. I don't know if this shows. So the other thing that I'm going to do with this top is it's going to have a folded hem, so this one won't have any ribbing as well. And then I'll include a pocket. I'm going to do a pocket in the main color. That's going to be a patch pocket, just to make it even more dressier. So the whole point with this one is I wanted something I can wear with my linen pants that looks beautiful and fancy and dressy. So this is the top. You can wear this of course with skirts, denim, jeans, and even formal pants. So this is my nameless top. I have to come up with the name this week because I'll be putting it up for testing as soon as I make a bit of some progress here. And then the next item, so I've shown two items that are still works in progress. There's this, and then the next item is a new one that you've never seen before. I haven't posted it anywhere. It's a t-shirt. I haven't done much. I've just done the back and the front and one sleeve, because the main detail here is this slip stitch pattern. So it's going to be on both sleeves and at the bottom of the top. So I wanted to add this detail on the t-shirt so that it's not just a plain t-shirt, but something that's got some interest to it. The yarn that I used is of course Natural Fibres Eco Cotton. These are the two colors I'm using. I'm using charcoal. It's a very dark gray, and mist is the lightest gray that they have. Remember I showed you this gray as well. That's anvil. So there's mist, there's anvil, and then there's cobblestones. I've got it somewhere. It's darker than the anvil, and then this is the darkest. So they've got 4 shades of gray, which I love a lot. So this looks almost whitish, but looks like an off-white, and I love the way the two colors blend. So I haven't done much. I'll be picking up stitches for the neckline next, and then probably do the other sleeve and just be left with the body. This one will also be in testing soon, and I'm hoping it will come out next month. And the last item on my needles is this one here. I spoke about it last week that I'm doing a lace top with some 100% linen, and I'm knitting it in pieces because I do not take chances with linen. I love linen. It's literally my favorite summer yarn, but it can actually grow quite a bit. So I wanted to do it in pieces so that I can do the seams on the sides. The sleeves are going to be knit in the round, though I don't intend to do them in pieces. I mean, doing the body in pieces is more than enough for me at the moment. I'll also write the pattern for knitting in the round, but from the bottom up, because that's literally the same instructions, because not everyone is going to knit this in linen, of course. So I'll have the instructions in the round. So the yarn I'm using is Blackbird Linen by Pearl Soho, and the color is bottle green. It's a very beautiful dark green. I don't normally knit with green, but I love it. I love this shade. So this stitch that I'm using was initially used on my Bugiwe shawl, It's a very simple lace pattern, and then the sleeves are going to be in stockinette stitch, and they're going to be 3/4, and they'll have some fun detail there that will make them look even better and nicer. So that's the pattern that I'm using. I'm hoping to make some progress this week. I've been busy with some submission stuff and doing swatches and redoing swatches, so that's why some of my stuff hasn't been progressing that much. And last week was a school holiday, so because there were 2 public holidays in the week, so they ended up getting the whole week off school. So when there's no school, I've noticed that I don't get to do much work. It's crazy somehow. I'll think that I'll do more because there are no school runs and everything, but I don't get to do much work. You just gotta keep the kids, kind of be a referee. So I didn't knit as much as I wanted to, but I've got a photo shoot next week, Thursday or Friday, most likely Thursday. So I have to finish a lot of items. I had planned my photo shoot for the other week, but then my photographer is booked to do a shoot outside of the country. So I think there's a wedding or something. So he's going to be away, and I can't take any chances and wait until it's too late, because some of the items I have to shoot are coming out at the end of the month, like the vest and the pink dress that I've been working on. I didn't show it today because I'm just working on the body. I did a couple of rounds since the last time I showed you, so there isn't much to show today. So I think once I finish all those pieces, because I'm trying to get them all photographed, I won't cast on anything new until later next week when I have done all these items, done the photo shoot. Then I'll start some new items. I think on the next episode that I'll be showing, there'll be a whole bunch of finished items and a whole bunch of new items on my needles. Okay, not a whole bunch, because I'm only trying to keep 3 items active on my needles, or at least even when I'm just finishing some things up, but have 2 or 3 new items at the most. So thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got more content for you, tutorials, some knit and chat videos, and a lot more interesting technique and lecture style videos. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.